Hello and welcome back to the Frugal Granny channel. My name's Ali and I'm Frugal Granny. I'm a 65-year-old semi-retiree trying to make the best with what I've got. In the time between having left my office job in the spring of this year and getting my state pension in the UK in July 2027. I'm actually filming this on Sunday. I did overtime shift this afternoon and I've just got back and I expect you can hear the dogs eating their dinner in the background. If you're new here, you're really very welcome. It's really lovely to have you here and I do hope you'll stick around. And if you're a returning viewer, I'm really pleased to see you. Right, so what have I come home with today? Well, first of all, let me just show you. I've come home with 2 bags of chicken drumsticks. These are 2 kilogram bags and they were on the yellow label counter when I arrived at work at lunchtime. They were £4.20 and they are down to £2.73. And I would have got another 10% discount on that, so we're looking at about £2.51. So it's about £5 for 2 bags. I'm really pleased about that because I've not found chicken drumsticks for a while, and I like to use them to make dog food for the dog. I'm going to get one of these bags of chicken drumsticks on to simmer for stock and for dog food. I shall use some of the stock for soup for myself and then the rest will all go to make dog food for the dogs. And then the other bag, I'm going to rinse those off quickly and then put them in the freezer in smaller portions. I just want to rinse it off before I put it in the stock pot. I could put this in the slow cooker, but I'm just going to put it in my casserole dish and simmer it on a really low flame for about an hour and a half. I have put these in the slow cooker overnight before, but I don't think I'm going to do that today. Just putting in enough water to cover them. I'm just putting those on the back burner now. I'll turn that down. Actually, I'm going to keep that on high with the lid to start with, and when it reaches a boil I shall turn it down to a simmer and leave it for about an hour and a half till it's cooked. So I'm going to rinse the other drumsticks now and then just divide them into across 4 bags and put those in the freezer. Putting them top to tail so they go in more efficiently space-wise. Right, so those chicken drumsticks are going in the freezer. Now I'm going to do a little bit of cooking. I want to use up some things that are in the fridge, and I also said that I would cook pepperkaker with you. I have been trying to eat through my freezers, and when I was going through them again the other day, I pulled out some cooking bacon because I've got 4 packets in there and I really need to eat those up. So I also noticed I've got chopped leeks, I've got some potatoes in the pantry that need eating up, and I've got a pot of cream that again needs eating up. So I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make a potato, bacon and leek bake. Then I'm going to try and make some Tuscan bean soup as well. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is trim the bacon. The cooking bacon, it looks like this. It's about a pound in weight, or 500 grams. It's basically sort of all the end bits that they can't really put in a smarter packet. I don't think the supermarket where I work actually does this anymore. I do know that they sell cooking bacon in Sainsbury's, And if I didn't have another 3 packets of this in the freezer, I would probably go to Sainsbury's and get some more, because you can make so many things out of this bacon, and it's a lot cheaper than buying back bacon or streaky bacon. This is a bit of a fiddle, to be honest. As Jane, Frugal Queen in France, said a couple of weeks ago, being frugal takes time. It is very time consuming. And this is one of the time consuming bits, really, of being frugal, is food preparation. Look at that, there's quite a lot of lovely meat in there. It's mixed in with quite a lot of fat, so I'm just going to sort that out and cut it into pieces. Yeah, so I've been at the supermarket this afternoon from 12 till 4:15. It's very, very noticeable that people are beginning to shop for Christmas now. The food I was particularly pleased to see were the large 750 gram packets of smoked salmon. I think they're on some sort of offer at the moment. It's really quite difficult because I'm trying to hold off and not do any shopping until staff discount week, which starts on the 13th. So I've really got to be I've got to be so good for the next 2 weeks, and I'm going to use that as an opportunity to do what I'm doing now, and that's eat up stuff that's in the freezer. Yeah, the thing that really struck me this afternoon was a lady who came through with 3 packets of the coffee that I buy. Well, when I bought the coffee that I bought recently, but I did buy enough coffee to last me until Christmas, and I've got 3 packets of the coffee left. We're doing incredibly well with that. And at the time, that coffee, the big packet, was £6.60. Well, I noticed last week when somebody came through the till that it had gone up to £6.70. And then this lady came through this afternoon, and the 3 packets that she had got went through the till at £6.75. So coffee has gone up 15 pence. Well, the big bag of coffee has gone up 15 pence, I would say, in the last 2 months. And coffee is one of the big consumable items to be watching, I think, at the moment, along with cocoa and olive oil. And what was the other one that needs watching? Yeah, now there was something else that I read about recently that was going to go up, and I thought, my goodness me, yes, I need to get some of that. What on earth was it? So anyway, what I'm going to be doing in the week starting on the 13th of December is stocking up mainly with non-decomposables for the next year, and also things like coffee, olive oil, cheese, tinned tomatoes I want to stock up on. What else am I missing? I've got a whole big list, and I'm working on the list. I mean, daft things like batteries, some more dehumidifiers for my car. I need a new knife sharpener. I mean, already last week I bought peppercorns because they were on offer, so I've got a good supply of peppercorn. No, I'm not going to be rendering all that pork fat down. I don't think so anyway. I'll just put it on one side for now and see what I think later. Right, the next thing to do is peel some potatoes. And then I just need to cut the potatoes really thinly. Normally I would put this together with a cheese sauce, sort of bechamel cheese sauce, one that's based on a butter and flour roux. But I want to use up this cream today, so I'm going to do this as if it was potato dauphinoise with cream as opposed to bechamel, and we'll just see what happens. It'll still taste nice. Potatoes in, and then a layer of leeks. And then I'll put in a bit of ham. Then I'm going to put in some grated cheese. And then a bit of the cream. I've sped this bit up because you don't really need to sit here watching me layer up potatoes, leeks, bacon, cheese and cream. But basically there are 3 layers and then a layer of potatoes on top with a little bit more cream and cheese as a sort of crust. Right, this is going in a 180 oven till it's done. Right, I'm just going to put together the base of the Tuscan bean soup. I'm not really following a recipe. I mean, to me, it's basically a tomato soup, chunky tomato soup, like a minestrone with beans in it, that you finish off by stirring in a handful of chopped kale. Soup vegetables can simmer while I'm doing the gingerbread, and then when I want to eat the soup and I reheat it, that's when you put the handful of kale in there. Yesterday when I came home, and it was delicious, so yeah. Right, a bit of seasoning pepper. But let me just try and tell you what we are going to use. We're going to use 150 grams of white sugar, 250 grams of golden syrup, 1 teaspoonful of ground ginger, 1 teaspoonful of ground cinnamon, half a teaspoonful of ground cloves, 1 teaspoonful of ground cardamom, 150 grams of butter, 1 egg, 2 teaspoonfuls of baking powder, and 500 to 600 grams of flour. So let's get going. Got sugar and golden syrup, ginger, cinnamon, cloves, cardamom, an egg, boil the sugar and the syrup and the spices. Right, sugar, 150 grams. Syrup, 250 grams of syrup, and this is always a problem. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do this bit back to front, I think. Let's weigh that. Okay, so that's 500 grams. I need 250, so I need to pour enough into the pan until the scales say 250. Right, let's do it that way. Yeah, that. That's it. Let's do the spices. A teaspoonful of ginger. 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. Half of cloves. Cloves are quite strong, so just don't overdo it. And then 1 teaspoon of cardamom. I'm going to put a generous teaspoonful of cardamom in there because this is not freshly ground and it's not as strong as I would like. Right, I need to melt that up, it says. Let's do that. Right, can you see it all melting together now? There you go, look, it's all melting together. Right, that's melted nicely, so I'm going to put in the 2 teaspoonfuls of baking soda. I said baking powder earlier. I actually meant baking soda, which in the UK is bicarbonate of soda. So 2 teaspoons. And then give that a mix. And it should bubble up and form a froth. Right, I'm going to put the butter in the pan. It says actually to pour the sugar mixture over the butter in a bowl, but I'm going to do it this way round, just to be awkward. I'm just going to stir that until it's melted. Then we need to leave it to cool before we add an egg. Just going to let that cool now, and while that's cooling I'm just going to weigh out the flour. There we go, and then I'm going to leave the bag of flour out so that we can use that for rolling. While we're waiting for the sugar and spice to cool down, it's pretty obvious now that the chicken has simmered and is coming off the bone. Look, that's nice now. So I've turned that off and I'm going to let that cool. A few ladles full of the liquid into the soup. When that's cooled down a little bit more, I'll drain it off and pick the meat off the bones. And in the meantime, I'm just going to put that on a really, really low simmer. Right, there we go. Let's see if we're going to get scrambled egg when we do this. It's still quite hot. While I'm waiting for that to cool down a bit, I'm just going to cut some baking paper. we're okay. It's going to be okay. Right, at this point I'm going to put it in the fridge for half an hour just to really cool off, and so it's a little bit firmer to work with. Right, let's get on with rolling this out. I've been to look at my cookie cutters. I've got a star, I've got the big heart that I used to decorate for Christmas tree decorations. And I've got a Swedish pig that I bought in Stockholm. I do not know where all my other cookie cutters have gone. It is very possible I've lent them to somebody and they've not returned them. It is very possible that I've decluttered them, but I can't imagine that I would have thrown away the peasant girl and peasant boy cutter and the heart. Almost, I'm wondering if I've lent them to my daughter for her stepkids. I don't know. I shall have to ask her. Anyway, I'm not going to roll this out too thin. Though quite thin is a good idea, but not too thin. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to do pigs, because pigs are sort of traditional, I think, apparently. I don't know. I hesitate to be an expert about anything anymore. Cutter came from Stockholm when I was there. Oh my goodness me, I took my youngest son when he was a toddler. So we must be talking about 28 years ago now. We went in November, just before Christmas, and it was absolutely fantastic. I loved it. All the wonderful Christmas decorations in the shops and the wonderful food and the coffee. No, I really loved it. We stayed with some very lovely people as well. I'm a bit sad about my peasant boy and peasant girl cutters. Maybe I can get some more from IKEA. I don't know. It might be a good excuse for another trip to that furniture store, homeware store. I'm always up for a trip to IKEA. I think I'm going to give the pigs a little eye. There you go. Let's do another tray. Let's do some hearts. Let me get the spatula. I think I'm going to need it. I guess if I wanted it an even thickness, I could roll it out between two wooden battens, but this isn't a gold medal contest. Not that I've ever done that sort of thing anyway. that you can't say I didn't tell you. If you're going to use these hearts for Christmas tree decorations, you need to make a hole in them now. So make a hole in them where you want to put the ribbon. Whoops-a-daisy, just be careful though. In the past I have actually used an old biro, a Bic biro, you know, and just stamped it out. Not probably the most hygienic thing to do, but it works quite well if you do that. I'm just going to lay those over there because I've run out of baking trays now. While we've been rolling out the gingerbread, the soup base has been cooking away, and that's now nice and done. So you can see the vegetables and the beans in there. Ribollita really should have white cannelli beans in it, but I don't actually have any, so I've put red kidney beans in, and I actually think that my visiting son would prefer red kidney beans to the white beans, so I think we're on to a winner there. I'm going to let that cool down, and then when it's ready, when we're ready to eat, I will put some chopped kale in there as it's warming up, and maybe some chopped meat, depending on what chopped meat we have available, either ham or a bit of chicken, something like that. So I'm going to leave that there with the lid on it overnight just to cool down. And then here we have the chicken stock. I'm going to move that over to the sink area and drain the stock off the meat, and then allow the drumsticks to cool so I can take the meat off the bones. Right, I have to be careful here. 1 minute. I think this might be the easiest way. The dogs are going to get a big treat here. Some of this meat might go in the freezer. Some of it could even go in the Tuscan bean soup. We'll see. Okay, I know this may sound a little bit mad, but I want to get all the bits out. And then right, so that can stay there. This can go back over here. Just put a lid on there. That can stay there and cool down. Let's have a look at the bake. Oh, look at that, all golden. I can't see a thing. Let's have a look. This is more by feel than look. Yeah, the potatoes are going right. The knife's going right through the potatoes, which is fantastic. The worst thing with this kind of dish is to get your potatoes half cooked. They need to be beautifully, softly cooked. Oh, wow, I can't believe we've actually got that far and got the cookies into the oven. So let's just see what happens when they come out. And then I'm going to make myself a nice mug of tea and go and sit by the fire, because it's been, golly, I've been cooking for I've been cooking for 3 hours. I can't believe it. Oh dear. Anyway, it's been good fun, even though I really was feeling a bit too lazy to get off my bottom earlier. There we go. The first pigs are out of the oven, and the hearts won't be far behind. So I'm just going to do that. There's no point me trying to be clever. I should just do that. There we go, little piggies. cool out. Spread you out to cool off. Right, hearts are out, so to speak. Was not very careful of me, was it? Well, there you are. That's the gingerbread cooling off. I've had a little taste of one of the broken stars. They're not quite as spicy as I would like, but I think they're going to be very nice. I'm just going to let those cool, and I'm going to go and sit down with the dogs now and have a cup of tea. That's what Kitty is doing right now. She's completely out for the count. And there's Bella. It's a bit difficult to see in the evening light. She's sleeping on my jumper on the sofa. Aren't you, Bells? Are you good, Bells?